It's time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file. From Fantatrax TV, this is Good Morning Tatooine!
Good morning, Tatooine indeed. We're back once again for our weekly recap of all the Star Wars news. So let's get straight into it and see what we're covering this week. Coming up, new Funko Pops have arrived for the autumn. Entertainment Earth exclusive as they reveal the Jumbo Grand Moff Tarkin vintage Kenner figure. We've got John Knoll, who was interviewed for British Cinematographer. And Crimson Reign has revealed its Connecting variant covers the new comic series from Marvel. Then we'll be having a look at the trailer for Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. And Robert Rodriquez has been speaking on the Book of Boba Fett, and he threw out the line that he knows it over-delivers. Heading over to Jabba's court at the end of the show, we'll be having a discussion on Disney Gallery, The Mandalorian, the Making of the Season 2 finale, which I'm sure you've all checked out already. Of course, let's get the important bit out of the way. Make sure you're subscribed and rung that bell if you're over on YouTube. Like us, follow us, share the content if you're on Facebook. We need your comments, so whether that's in the YouTube chat or on the Facebook, give us your comments. They'll appear throughout the show, and we'll try and include as much of your thoughts in our discussion as possible. And joining me today, Carl Bayless from
Hello.
Desert Planet Discs. How are you, Carl?
Good, thank you, Brian. And yourself?
It's been not too bad. Bit of an adventure the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Away from Fantatrax, but other than that, fighting fit and back at doing the shows. I'm looking forward to getting this done every Sunday evening from now on. For yourself, Desert Planet Discs over on Fantatrax Radio. Always
Yes.
a regular coming out. New merch there on as well. So,
New merch. Whoa.
you've got a new episode coming out this week. What can we expect?
Yeah. There's lots and lots and lots of stuff in this week's. It's a bumper episode. I think it's just under an hour and a half. So a couple of commutes for some people, but yeah, we've got some great new music that we've Greg and I have been trawling the internet to discover new musical lovelies that are sort of Star Wars related music. So we found a couple of new bands and artists over on Bandcamp, so we're featuring those. I think Bantha Rider and the Bespin Moons are two names that immediately spring to mind, and lots and lots and lots of chat about Lego, the Mandalorian Gallery that we're going to speak about later. What else did we talk about? Greg's birthday. You name it.
Lots to listen into.
Lots and lots and lots to listen into. So, yeah, that should be out Thursday, I believe. So obviously everybody will already, of course, be subscribed to the Fantatrax podcast channels.
And if not, jump on your podcast of choice.
Exactly.
Type in Fantatrax Radio, you'll find us. Lots of good content there.
iTunes, SoundCloud, anywhere you can get podcasts, Spotify, you name it.
The whole works.
Yeah.
So I think we should get straight into the news and let's see what's happening in the world of Star Wars this week. First up, Funko Pop, we're back with new releases for the autumn. Have you had a chance to check out what they've got coming up, Carl? Did anything?
Yeah. See, now Funko Pops is something I sort of dip into if there's particular ones that I like the look of. I do already have a Rebels Ahsoka, although that one does look rather nice. And that's the doozy for me, the Dark Trooper. I one of those sort of designs that when you saw it in Mandalorian, it was just there's going to be a lot of merch flies out on the basis of that. Don't think they've announced a Black Series or anything like that yet, but there we go. So we've got the Funko Pop, we've got the beaten up version of Boba Fett. I'm only too sure that there's a probably repainted version of
There's
that
going to be a
coming out
shiny
as
one, isn't
well.
there?
Yeah, this is after he'd had a couple of weeks to repaint all the armor, and two Bo-Katans, one with the hat on, one without the hat on, and
I kind of like the Mandalorian without the hat, but to be fair, the Grogu with the cookies kind of steals it for me.
yeah,
But good price point. I always think in the Funko Pops, it's kind of throw away $11.
yeah,
I think everyone's got one or two in their collection somewhere.
yeah, yeah. I just looking at the other wall that you can't see. I have a couple of the out on display. I have a couple of the Cal Kestis and the Second Sister from Fallen Order, and terribly lacks of me. I also have the Christmas ones, so R2D2 with reindeer and reindeer horns, and 3PO Santa and Chewie in the Christmas lights.
I've got a Captain Phasma because that character was going to be great.
Yes.
And I think I've got a Thrawn as well in there
Oh,
in
nice.
the mix.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
they're always fun. The Funko Pops, some crazy amount of collections people have got going on,
yeah,
entire walls of them. But each to their own. Moving on
yeah,
to another type of collecting, the Jumbo Grand Moff Tarkin vintage Kenner figure.
yeah.
I kind of dig it because I get the retro vibe they're going for, but there's been a bit of controversy about the figure as well, I think. And
Yeah, well, we were talking just before we came on air. Now, I did a bit of scouting around, and this doesn't look to be the same mold or a blown up version of the mold of the Tarkin that they put in the recent reissue of the Escape to the Death Star game. So they brought out a Moff Tarkin as part of that range. Because I think I'm right in saying they never actually did a Tarkin figure way back when.
I don't think they did.
So this was one of those. Oh, it was always an idea to have a Tarkin, but it never came to fruition. So, what you talking about, Willis, Mister Newbold? He'll set us on the right track if we're mistaken. But yeah, it definitely looks to be.
Henry Winkler. It does.
Yeah, yeah. It the aside the retro version does look to be a different mold, and I've seen some of these other Gentle Giant figures where it is effectively the retro vintage figure just blown up. Looks more like Guy Henry, Mark Howard. Yes, yeah. I think with this part of Tarkin and sort of Peter Cushing, is that sort of very defined cheekbones, and this doesn't look to have that.
No, no. I
Um,
kind of find
and
it
yeah,
odd as well that they're announcing it for January. Always find it
yeah,
odd toys being announced for January, and a lot of people seem to do it. I just think you're missing the Christmas market. It's crazy.
yeah, yeah. And as Mark's just said as well, he's got the original Akbar staff, which seems slightly odd accessory for him to have, but
Yeah. 80
there we go.
bucks, not cheap. It's not
No,
going to be everyone's cup of tea, I don't think, but
no,
catering for a very specific market.
yeah,
Moving swiftly on, something that's more up my street, the behind the scenes of Star Wars, and John Knoll has been speaking with the British Cinematographer, and always interesting to hear what John's got to say. And it's one of the things that kind of pains me about the sort of Disney era is that they want to sort of close off the behind the scenes part of it. They don't want to really be seen to talk about that as much.
yeah,
And guys like John Knoll are guys who have helped build Star Wars from the ground up, and should be celebrated. And we're kind of missing out on the next generation coming through. But putting
yeah,
that to one side, Your thoughts on this interview?
Yeah, I mean, as you said there, really, you know, as sort of an original trilogy kid, I came up on all those sort of Star Wars to Jedi making of documentaries and things like that, and you get a bit of that with the you know, the Blu-rays and stuff like that, but nowhere near the sort of, you know, everybody knew who Phil Tippett was, everybody knew who Ben Burt was, and all those, you know, all those guys, you know, are synonymous with everything you see on screen. You know that, you know, to some degree, they're, you know, as famous as the you know, in front of the screen, in front of the screen, in front of the camera, you know, guys, and their household names for, you know, what they've done since. So stuff like this does really interest me as well. I always love there's a story, I think, I don't know if it was in some of the Rogue One making of stuff, where John Knoll talks about you know, he came up with the sort of the original story treatment for Rogue One. You know, the opening line of the New Hope crawl is, you know, based on plans, you know, obtained by the rebellion, sort of thing. And he was like, "Yeah, let's flesh that out as an idea." And what a great story Rogue One turned out to be.
It did. You know, it's it's a recent release, but still, it lands for me as one of my favourite Star Wars films. It just on the money. It hit every tone I love about Star Wars, and
Yeah,
I realise there's more than just John was involved in the conception of it, but his
yeah,
original nugget of an idea, and I think that's something that should be encouraged within Lucasfilm ILM, as the people that are working so closely with the product should be able to pitch the ideas in there.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. And I think certainly, you know, there's a lot of people there that, you know, again, you see in stuff like Disney Gallery. Um, you see, you know, there's like the likes of the Hal Hickles and people like that coming to the fore, and they do seem to be massively involved in whatever the Star Wars project is. You know, Neil Scanlon again is another one. Um, you know, you get all these guys constantly being pulled in for their expertise, even though you know, historically you would have said, yeah, they're the film guys. You know, they're being called on to do stuff in you know, more and more in the Disney Plus TV stuff.
And of course, in this interview, he spoke about the digital Moff Tarkin, and
Yeah,
we spoke about it just earlier there. Guy Henry obviously taking on the role from Peter Cushing, and he spoke about how they got permission from the Peter Cushing estate, which I think is kind of important because there is a controversy when it comes to digital recreated actors. So.
yeah, yeah, and I mean, it becomes all the more, you know, sort of poignant this week with the announcement of the stuff that ILM have been doing for this new ABBA virtual concert.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, again, rolled into again some of the stuff from the Disney Plus gallery where they brought Luke back, and you know, the recreation of Moff Tarkin and things like that. All this technology is moving on now at you know, such a pace that you know, as a musician as well, I have a massive interest in going to see what this the ABBA thing is all about and how good it is or isn't.
It's an opportunity for Mr. Newbold to throw out some terrible puns as normal.
Oh yes, Water Luke. Yeah.
Moving on to
Moving on swiftly.
yeah, I have to move on when Mark starts chiming in. Crimson Reign connecting variant covers were announced. 2 weeks
Yeah.
since we got the announcement of this new series coming from Marvel, and so we got our first kind of real depth look at what may potentially be coming up in the series, and some pretty stunning art, some new looking characters, some familiar. Always great to see Amelia Clark's character from Solo making a comeback and getting her own series. It's obviously been part of the War of the Bounty Hunter comics as well, and of course Charles Soule back on writing duties, and he's been phenomenal for Star Wars comics for the last few years. What did you think of the art?
Yeah, I mean, I actually printed it out, and it's gorgeous, really, really nice. I yeah, like you, the fact that we're getting more stories about Kira and this sort of the whole sort of Crimson Dawn sort of era, hopefully bodes well. I would like to think that somebody somewhere has sort of said, yeah, this episodic TV stuff that we're doing on Disney Plus, yeah, we've got an actress here that was in like 8 seasons of one of the big sort of hits of this sort of modern episodic TV stuff. Why don't we get her back in to do that Kira character? Again, even if it is, post Solo, there aren't, there's no Alden or Donald Glover involved. It's not bringing those characters back in, and it is purely about the crime syndicates and that sort of thing. I think that would make a really, really good TV show.
I have to make a confession here that just yesterday I watched Last Christmas. That Amelia Clark was on, as you do in the start of September,
Yes.
getting geared up for Christmas. 110 days, maybe. 110,
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, 3
Not far
months.
off.
Yeah.
But good film, by the way. Good film.
Okay.
And Christmas film, not a September film.
Yeah.
But I keep saying it. I've said it a lot of times before. She's an actress who is film quality actress, but also very well known for her TV work, and so she falls into the pay bracket that makes it possible to do a Disney Plus.
Yeah.
She's not a $25 million per film actress. So with the utmost respect, she falls into the category as someone that they could secure for a even if it was a limited run TV series.
Yeah. And I mean, I think I know we've had numerous discussions on Desert Planet Discs. The fact that they call these things limited run shows, I think is, we've pitched it at the moment that we've got this story treatment and we're going to run it, and it's going to run for 6 episodes. Look at WandaVision. In the Marvel universe, you've got a specific story that you want to stretch out and tell, and that was done. That's not to say you couldn't come back and get WandaVision Series 2 that's set somewhere in a different timeline.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things, Andor obviously has slightly less potential for something like that, because we know sooner or later you get to Rogue One or the end of Rogue One. But in the meantime, you've got lots of different. If you're only doing sort of 6 or 7 episodes for a season, you could tell a lot of different stories over multiple seasons. Likewise with Kenobi, and with this Crimson Dawn TV series that we're going to copyright and make lots of money from.
This comic series, of course, as I said, is follow up to War of the Bounty Hunters. It's the second part of what's going to be 3 comic series, and we don't know if it's going to be the next one. This was originally due to come out in November after War of the Bounty Hunters finishes in October, but it's just been delayed It's going to be out in December. Date not announced as yet. But looking forward to this and looking forward to see what comes after it as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Next up, the official gameplay trailer came out for Tales from Galaxy's Edge: Last Call. Have you had a chance to check it out?
I have. Unfortunately, I don't have an Oculus Quest, but it does look very, very nice. In fact, I think I've played the Vader game on your Oculus Quest.
Yeah, that'd be right enough.
Farthest from a couple of years ago, back before all of the pandemic and everything. But yeah, in terms of you've obviously you're seeing a lot of the Galaxy's Edge type stuff tied in with Doc Ondor. That's anybody that's read any of the books, Galaxy's Edge, Black Spire, and stuff. There's lots of familiar stuff in there already. Obviously, anybody that's been fortunate enough to actually go to Batuu for real will obviously also have a bit of an idea of the places and the characters. Interesting from the gameplay trailer, you can see there you've got sort of bits of Jedi training, but you've also here we go, become a bounty hunter. So you can play as IG. I don't know whether it's 88 or 11. I can't quite remember, but yeah, it's nice. Different gameplay modes, and it's not just it's the same character running around with a lightsaber and then develops skills and then has a blaster. You've got different elements there.
I do like the VR stuff from Oculus. I like the PS4 stuff as well. I still think it's 5 to 10 years away from being where it needs to be at to be truly immersive. Although you do see some of the occasional very funny videos of people running into walls and so on YouTube. But I think it's not quite there yet. I think the graphics are very high quality. I think the interactive element of it not quite slick like it should be.
Yeah. We did. What was the installation VR thing? Void in London, and that again was great, but as you say, is still even a super engineered proper installation sort of thing like that. You'd got slightly more realism because like when you were in a lava-y bit, the room you were in or the bit of the room you were in, they put some heaters on so you felt very hot or a fan on so you got wind, as it were. But I think some of these games, and I mean some of the I'm just trying to read it. Squadrons, the flight game. A few people I know, Greg, Andy Lith, and Martin Keeler have all played that with the PS4 headsets, and they reckon that is very good. From even just down from the pilot briefings and stuff like that. But always nice to see that they are trying to push the envelope with the Star Wars games and the properties. But as you say, the graphics wise, it's probably still a little bit away from being true, really.
I think why it works for Squadrons is because you're kind of constricted to the cockpit.
Yeah.
So it becomes immersive because you don't need to move out your seat. There's no pretense that you're walking forward or whatever. There's a huge part of that. So I think that's why it works then.
yeah, you look around and you see the inside of the cockpit and some ships that aren't real anyway. So
Mark Howard's making a great point there. The Emperor Strikes Back in the Atari. Playability. That's what it's all
yeah,
about. Playability.
yeah, Super Nintendo. In
Kids
fact,
nowadays don't know the issues with
yeah,
blisters on their fingers.
that's it. That's it. Daley Thompson's decathlon. How many
Yeah,
space bars? How many space bars did we all get through as kids?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Talking of virtual environments, the Book of Boba Fett. I see that slick move there. ILM
Yeah.
and obviously their technology that goes into set building, and Robert Rodriguez mentions that when he was talking about the Book of Boba Fett in this recent interview that he's done, promoting of all things Billy Ellis's cinematic concert experience that he's been involved in. And obviously, Book of Boba Fett's going to be his next release following this, and he makes the comment that it's going to over deliver, and it's an interesting comment because it's quite a gauntlet to throw out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But on the same thing, has there been a huge build up to the Book of Boba Fett? It's been very tempered so far.
That's kind of, for me, that statement is like, it's going to over deliver. How is it going to over deliver? You know, I know there's an expectation, I guess, from Boba Fett fans or Mandalorian, the creed, or whatever you want to define it as these days, fans that, you know, Boba Fett back in his formative years was this, you know, slick, hard-hitting bounty hunter, and you know, we get to see a bit of that in Mando when he shows up and he's basically wiping out an entire squadron of stormtroopers. But you know, it's an interesting comment. I think it's designed to promote debate and you know, get people starting to think about, oh yeah, hang on, if that's coming in December, we're actually only sort of 2-3 months away. So I do fully expect the hype train to start up in.
I think I'm right in saying that it's probably going to start. I think there's a Target event at the end of September, and we're going to start seeing some product announcements.
Okay.
And then you know it's going to be heavy for the Christmas sales window, so I expect things all the way through from there. But it's kind of one of these series that there hasn't been a lot of announcements made about it. Certainly an official.
Well, that's the other thing. Interesting. You say that it's a series that we've not heard a lot about. Now, have they actually ever confirmed that it's going to be a series?
I think I'm right in saying it's 6 episodes.
Okay. Because I
could be wrong. Could be 8.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Like the way it sort of came about.
It sounded like a TV movie, didn't it? When the announcement came out.
Yeah, very much. You know, it was just going to be, you know, it may, you know, obviously feature lengths, you know, 90 minutes, maybe even 2 hours. But if it is going to be a series, Fett Friday,
it's 8. Can it be 6? I think he's right.
Okay. Oh, that's even better then. So if because you're talking then, you know, maybe 4 hours plus, you know, 30-40 minutes an episode.
Yeah.
So pretty much in keeping with Mando, really. So really excited for it. Also interesting the comments that he makes about the volume, the stagecraft.
Yes.
You know, saying that you know, whilst it's great once you know what you're doing, he's you know, he doesn't think it's going to completely revolutionize movie making, because you've got to do the legwork on it at some point, And if you're trying to do that up front to make sure you've got all the scenery and settings that you want, your pre-production for the film becomes exponentially more than it would be if you were filming against a green screen or something like that, and then filling the digital realm, the background and everything afterwards. So it's an interesting point. I guess as it becomes more the norm at the moment, it's maybe a bit of a novelty. And I think as well, if you're starting to build, at the moment they're building from a very, a zero position almost. I think especially within Lucasfilm and Star Wars in particular, as you start to build up more of a library of, okay, here's Tatooine settings, here's plates we've done for that, here's Takadana, all the stuff we've got from, the Lake District and all these sort of things. As they build up more and more, yes, you're still going to need new stuff when you go to new locations, but as you build up a stock almost of location footage and things like that, I think it will potentially become easier.
Yeah.
Or you can film stuff in the volume using a Tatooine wrap, for the lighting and the effect. And if it doesn't look quite right, you're not 100% happy with how it's working, then you can digitally alter that.
Do you think they can go all 5 hours without mentioning Slave One?
This is another discussion we have on this week's latest edition of Desert Planet Discs. Yeah, I don't know. Yes,
we should maybe park that one.
Yes,
Listen to Desert Planet Discs, see what they think there.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
we'll sidestep it. We'll head over to Jabba's court and have the discussions of on Disney's gallery on The Mandalorian instead. So, Disney's The Mandalorian gallery for the season 2 finale. Your overall thoughts on that, Carol?
Just anybody that's watched any of the gallery episodes, we got several galleries for season 1, if I recall correctly, and then season 2 they sort of just dropped one episode. And most people were almost dumbfounded that they had completely omitted the finale episode and the big reveal. Spoiler alert that they were bringing back Luke. As it turns out, it's got its own episode, and it's not just sort of filler. It is well deserved as a standalone episode. You get the usual sort of stuff you get with the gallery, but interesting, things that were revealed. They went down lots and lots and lots of different routes of how to actually do Luke. Whether they went down the Guy Henry Rogue One, get an actor with a dots on the face, mocap type helmet, and de-age and do digital reconstruction that way, deep fake, lots and lots and lots of different ways tried to do it because, as John Favreau and Dave Filoni, they're portmanteaued in Desert Planet Discworld. We just call them Favoloni now, which does sound like a nice Italian dish as well. But yeah, because they were so like wrapped up in, if we bring him back, it's got to be right. You know, we can't mess this up. Now, how much of that was their, you know, their actual own way of working, their own drive to make it as good as it possibly could be, and how much of that was, yeah, we've really got to pull this back because a lot of people don't like what was done in the sequels with him.
Here's a question for the people watching then. Do they think they got it right in terms of the way that they did the reveal? We'll throw that one. Let's see what your comments are on that. What's your thought? Do you think they did it well?
Yeah, I think having seen the gallery now, I think I've got more of an appreciation. I know that there's people that have gone out and said, "Oh, look, I've done it on deepfake, and you know, I've made it look more realistic than Lucasfilm did." And I think they've actually hired the guy that did that now at Lucasfilm. So, but I mean, I didn't really know much about the whole what deepfake even was, and they actually go into a bit of that. You know, it's almost like deepfake for dummies. And sort of explaining, you know, explaining the way that the actual technology works. And interestingly, sorry to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it yet, everybody's sort of been under the impression that the voice was Mark, which it was. Not Mark Newbold, Mark Hamill. But he didn't actually voice the character. They did all that through like almost like a deep fake voice module, and just plugged loads of obviously audio from the films at the time, loads of audio of interviews that they got from the Lucas archives and things like that. And it was actually like an AI voice synthesizer, if you like, that, you know, that's how they've done the voice, which I think as well, when you actually see that and he goes, you know, he speaks, I don't know whether that detracts slightly from the visual as well. Mark's saying he's got conventions lined up saying he'd done the voice. I'm sure you have, Mr. Newbold. How much are you charging for your autograph?
I kind of agree with Mark Howard there, and he said that you knew as soon as the X-Wing turned up, it was going to be Luke. But at the same time, you almost wanted to not believe it.
Yeah.
But I think now that they've done it and they've lined Luke up with Grogu, you kind of need to bring Luke back at another point.
Yeah.
It's not a one and done deal.
No.
And I buy into the whole Thrawn trilogy connections. So I actually don't think it's Luke Skywalker. I think it's a Luke clone. And I think that'll play out in some direction that way. But we'll wait and see what season 3 brings. I would like to see Thrawn in the series. He's been name checked. It's easy to bring him in, and it's a nice swerve to say it wasn't Luke. It was a clone. And really, the clone was sent to bring Grogu to Thrawn. Yeah, and it just connects the whole circle.
Yeah. No, that's a really good twist they could throw in there.
There you go. I've maybe spoiled it. Season 3 ruined if you've been watching this episode. Good morning, Tatooine. We'll check back. Hopefully, in a year's time, I can play this clip and I'll just take a bow.
That's it. That's it.
But in terms of, they went to huge lengths to try and keep it a secret as well, which I guess
Oh,
links back to what you said, that why it wasn't part of the initial Disney gallery. Obviously, the fewest number of people possible.
people that knew about it. Yeah, I mean, even going down to the level of they had all the episodes storyboarded out, or certainly that sequence storyboarded out with Plo Koon as the Jedi that came through, and they filmed it on set with somebody in a Plo Koon mask, and you're like, that is an insane level of there's trying to keep something a bit secret.
I really don't respect the staff, do they?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's gonna leak sooner or later. One of you lot's gonna leak it. So, yeah, it's it is a real sort of the lengths they went to keep that.
Mark Stewart asking, is that cloned R2 as well? See, droids 10 a penny. How many R2s been built?
Now,
How many different colour schemes and naming conventions can there be? It's going to be more than one R2D2.
Interestingly, one of the scenes in the gallery, you see R2 walking back towards the lift with Luke, but his blue panels are all green. And then in other shots, he's all blue. So I don't know whether that was a sort of juggling of, we're using blue screen, not green screen, and if we have R2 in blue, we're going to end up superimposing some of the background over R2, so we've got a green astromech, and then we recoloured it. I know that was a thing they did in one division where for all the black and white stuff and did the colour stuff, Vision was actually painted blue. Paul Bettany was painted blue, and they recoloured him red digitally. You're like, wouldn't it have been easier? But they reckon Plo Koon, isn't he dead?
I'm going to answer this one for you, Mark. It was a long time ago. They are all dead.
Yeah. Yeah, remember in Star Wars, no one's ever really gone.
Yeah, I don't know what
So they keep telling us.
Plo Koon's droid was. Could be a good point from Andrew.
Yes, very good point. Yeah.
Yeah. Was there anything else that stood out to you from
The
episode?
Yeah, I mean
the other
sort of
about Luke.
yeah. The other big takeaway from it is how Filoni and Favreau have sort of best intentions at all times with these characters, and John Favreau certainly was quite vocal in saying, deepfake technology and all that isn't perfect, but it's getting better all the time, and the real sort of worry from his point of view is that when deepfake gets to the point that you can't tell it from an actual person, you really start to get into the realms of, whilst it's great for film and TV stuff, could it be used for more nefarious purposes by the more unscrupulous members of society?
Well, when you've got such a rabid culture cancellation kick on social media, all someone needs to do is throw out a deep fake of someone doing something they shouldn't be doing, and people will jump on it. And even when the truth comes out, the damage is done. So
that's it. Or deep fakes of Boris Johnson or Joe Biden,
I'd believe
whoever.
it about Boris, to be fair.
Yeah.
Are either of you real? Well, there's
No.
a debate on that. A lot of parts that aren't no longer working
Yeah.
being replaced. It's probably why it seems slightly off. I kind of agree with that comment as well for Mark.
Yeah, as I say, the other thing, I think Mark, both Marks have sort of mentioned there, for the deepfake they used a lot of earlier images and bits of footage of Mark Hamill. So pre-Empire filming car accident where the shape of his face changes following the accident and the sort of reconstructive surgery.
The Wampa attack.
Yeah. So using that era footage does seem a bit strange when actually what you should be using is Wampa attack onwards.
I think I'll leave the last comment of the show to Mr. Newbold. Can only get better over time. The Uncanny Valley is now a crevice rather than a canyon. I think that's a great point to end the show on.
Yep.
Carol, thanks for joining me this week. Look forward to having you back very, very soon. And
Thank you.
We'll be back again next Sunday, 9 p.m. in the UK, 4 p.m. New York time. As long as the clocks haven't changed. I don't think they have. And thanks everyone for joining in. Appreciate all your comments. And thanks for being part of the show.
Cheers.
Keep up to date with the latest Star Wars news each and every day on FanthaTracks.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, and Pinterest at FanthaTracks. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow FanthaTracks TV to be alerted to new content and to be a part of our live